Philly's favorite 100.7 FM and 99.5 HD3. It's Chris, and we're getting started with Real Talk with the real estate diva, Desiree McDuffie. And today we have a returning guest for the first time. Back by popular demand, find out who it is. Stay tuned. Real Talk, let's go.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with the Real Estate Diva. This is Desiree, Real Estate Diva McDuffie here, and we have a treat for you. We actually have part 2 of last week's shows. We have half of part 2 of last week's show, right? I don't know. But we have the awesome Corwin Jackson, owner and CEO of Court Inspection Group here with us.
The return.
Yes.
Hey, I was saying, I got invited back for an encore. It's Grammy, and then there's this. So super excited to be invited back. I said, man, I guess I didn't bore those guys.
All the reviews said,
that's great.
Yeah, all the reviews said you did an awesome job. So they were like, we need a part 2. So I said, okay, all right.
Let's get to it.
Yes,
By
get to
popular
it.
demand.
Yes. So we're going to be talking about home inspections this week. Last week we discussed, the 203K process, which is a little different from the actual home inspection process. So Corwin is going to get into, information about that and what we should be looking for in the homes that we're looking to purchase.
Absolutely. If you're like most consumers, most home buyers, they don't even know that a home inspection is needed until they need one. Until their trusted real estate professional says, okay, it's time for the home inspection. And most of them are like, wow, what's that? Where did that come in at? So first, I got to thank you because you always keep us at the forefront. You've introduced us to so many wonderful people. So big thank you for that.
You're welcome.
One of the questions that I get all the time is, hey, how did you become a home inspector? What did that journey look like? Well, I'll tell you guys, when I was in the 6th grade, I did not say I was going to be a home inspector.
I was about to say, like, what? You knew way back then?
Hey, you guys should have saw the look on Chris's face.
He had his tool belt,
This guy was going to school with a tape measure on and a flashlight. Well, I wish, but it didn't exactly happen like that. But I'll tell you guys, just a quick sidetrack. The sooner you realize what your passion is, the sooner you're going to lead to giving people exceptional service and all that type of fun stuff. But what happened so I had a passion in real estate really, really early on. Okay. My dad was a real estate investor. I have brothers that are investors. So getting out of the Marine Corps, it was kind of like, hey, how do I land my feet on the ground? I'm working a 9 to 5. At that point, I was picking up duplexes, triplexes at the time, fixing them up, renting them out. But I wanted to get into real estate full time. And everyone says, well, just be a realtor. It's so easy.
They lied to y'all. Oh, my God.
And that's all the HGTV stuff, which wasn't around then, but the narrative and the dialogue was the same. Yeah. And, many of us that constantly have just the need to be educated. At that time, YouTube wasn't around, so we were digging into a lot of different real estate related books and just getting as much information as we could. But the dialogue was still then, hey, just be a realtor. But I could tell you guys, I knew that I didn't have that that skill set. I knew I didn't have that high level of patience and man, you guys are
we're saints, aren't we?
You are. It's the customer service piece. It's a sprinkle of psychology.
It's everything. We're the counselor. We are the home inspector. We're the accountant. We're everything. Everything.
My wife will tell you I'm a stick to the script kind of guy. What are we here to do? What are we looking to accomplish? I'm not looking to get, and it's not that I don't care. I care deeply. But I'm just focused on the task.
I care deeply.
I care deeply, but I like to focus on the task at hand. So, so what happened is I was purchasing a property, and I had an amazing realtor that I was working with at the time. And she said, well, they're not budging on a price. Let's definitely go ahead and get the home inspection done for that and other reason. I said, sure, let's do it. So, of course, the gentleman showed up, and I said, do you do this every day? I couldn't believe it. He said, yeah, pretty much 6 days a week. And I'm like, wow. So with that became my introduction to the home inspection industry.
Okay.
Now, come full circle. A lot of times I'm out on inspections, and I may bump into someone that I haven't seen since high school.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a home inspector. They're like, no, I mean like full time.
Right.
Wow.
So
they don't think it's a full time.
They don't, and I did not.
Oh.
And just another quick sidetrack, guys, we have to be, really careful when we're telling, because of course, once I got introduced to it, I'm off telling my friends, my family members, I'm talking trash at work. I'm not going to be here long. I got something else.
Days are numbered.
What I'm going to do.
Exactly.
Your days are numbered.
Exactly.
So of course, what does your the people that care about you say? What does mom say? What does the people close to you say? They try to encourage you not to do it, right?
Slow down.
So slow down. Let's do some more research. So
security.
For our young entrepreneurs, don't focus on much as, what they are saying, because they're saying that not because they don't believe in you. They're saying that because they want to protect you.
Yep.
It's coming from an area of, because you know how, even our generation and the young, they hating. They just, I'm gonna do it anyway. Hey, listen. They love you. They're not hating, but they've seen you accomplish so much, and they don't want you to lose it on a gamble, right? So sometimes I know as entrepreneurs, and I know we're supposed to be talking just about inspection.
No. Listen, this is needed. Absolutely.
It's just stuff that needs to be said. I know sometimes we need investors. So make sure you put that business plan together. What are you going to do on day one? What are you going to accomplish by day 30? All those types of fun things. So don't be afraid to be very vocal about what it is that you want to do and put a date to it. Right? I know some of us are setting really aggressive goals for 2023. So sure, let's make it happen. But back to home inspections.
But real quick, let me just say this, just to piggyback off of what you said. Yeah. Because I went through the same thing when I went to transition from working in social services.
So many entrepreneurs have a similar journey.
Yeah, but what I knew and I felt in my bones is that this is a vision that God gave me. This is what I was meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And it was a vision that God gave me. Yeah. So God didn't give my mom the vision.
Right.
He didn't give my sister the vision. He didn't give anyone else that vision.
Yeah.
He gave me that vision. So I have to believe in myself enough and trust God to work through this process so that I can live out this vision that he's given me. Yeah. So, that's the thing. If God give you a vision, just keep going and keep moving with it.
It's for you. You gotta keep pushing.
Yeah, absolutely. Sidebar, huh? Yeah. Little encouragement for the young entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. So, with the home inspections, because one of the questions I get a lot is, hey, well, if I'm paying for an appraisal, why do I need a home inspection, right? Well, it's completely two different skill sets. So the appraiser is actually working for the lender, by the way, right? Because the appraiser is trying to understand, okay, how much is the house worth? What are the homes going for in this market? And then they're going to provide that number to the lender, right? Because they want to make sure that lender isn't lending on more money than what that home is worth. A lot of times, it's so funny. I'm out on inspections and, I'm kind of doing my thing. And many times the realtor is with us as well. They may step off for a minute and the client will pull me in close and they'll say, hey, is this house really worth what I'm paying for it? and I'm loud. I have no idea.
Thank you for that.
I have no idea. And the reason for that is, we're not in tune with comps. We're not in tune with, I don't really care what the house is going for. That's not what I'm there for as a home inspector. I'm trying to figure out what type of heating system do you have? What's the service life of that heating system? Are there any structural concerns? Does the appliances work? So one way to really break it down, and one of the things I'll explain to first time home buyers, what we are essentially doing is we're going to take the home for a test drive. Very similar to when you purchased your car, you went out, you took it on, hopefully, you took that car for a test drive, because you got some crazy ones out there, Des.
Did I take my car for a test drive?
Des might be one.
I don't think I took my car for a test drive.
Right off.
She jumped in and rolled right off. So because guess what? If the goal is, if there is a deficiency somewhere with that home, if there's a leaking pipe, if there is a problematic electric panel, it's not going to go away when you take ownership. So that home inspection is generally completed within that due diligence period, also known as a 10-day contingency period. And Daz is looking like, man, I thought you just knew how to test the heating system.
He know all about the contract and everything. The 10-day contingency period.
So
yes.
Within that time frame, because guess what, you already signed your AOS, you signed the agreement to sell, but now you have a small time frame to figure out, hey, if you want to move forward with the process. After that point, usually a larger deposit is
possibly. It depends on the terms of the contract, but once you're in that 10-day period, that's when you provide notice to the seller as to whether or not you're moving forward with the purchase, or you want the seller to make repairs, or if you just want to back out of
back out completely.
Deal.
And that does happen sometimes.
It does happen.
That does happen sometimes. Because keep in mind, typically the realtor that you're working with, and it should be Des.
Yes,
right. The realtor that you're working with,
real estate diva.
Yeah, real estate diva. Yeah, right. She is very familiar with the neighborhood. She understands what the homes are going for. She understands the different finishing, all those types of things to meet your checklist, because every buyer is going to have, they call it the dream list,
Absolutely.
I need 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a finished basement. Desiree is going to understand what your price point is, and she's going to match you to that home, right? And then, where we come in at is, we come in as the building expert. Is there something here that's conducive to mold issues? Should we be recommending a sewer scope? Are there any structural concerns? So that's really where the home inspector comes in, because now he's trying to figure out, okay, you're looking to purchase this home. Is there anything that could offset the value of the home?
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, because a lot of buyers think that there's a pass or a fail.
Oh, that's a really good. I love that question.
Let me answer. Let you answer that. I'm about to answer for you. Go ahead.
So we, a lot of times, what the buyer will ask is, does the seller have to fix everything that you find? And it's an emphatic no. They don't, right?
Absolutely.
Honestly, irregardless of what that issue is, so the home inspector is not a governing agency. We are there to protect the interests of the buyer. So we're essentially there on your behalf. And I'll tell you guys, sometimes I'm surprised, and I'll tell you what I mean by that is, we had a scenario where there was a younger single mom, first time buyer purchasing a home, and we're finding different issues at the house. But the biggest thing that we bumped into at the house was a roof that 100% needed to be replaced. Everything else was super minor. A door that's not closing properly, GFCIs, and leaking dishwasher, things that I'm thinking that is super minor, right? So we're walking the buyer down the road. Hey, you'll have to figure out what are some of the things that you want them to have repaired. I'm thinking for sure she's going to say what?
The roof.
The roof. She tells me her brother owns a roofing company. That's an easy one for her. But all the little stuff, she said, all the little stuff. I'm single. I don't have a man. I'm not really, listen, I'm not looking to come in here and be dealing with a laundry list of just small things. I want those small things resolved. Y'all better believe my brother owed me some favors. She's like, yeah, Angelo, I'm calling you. You better believe he owes me some favors. We can get the roof resolved. So I say that to say, it's not up to the home inspector. It's really not up to the realtor. She's going to give you some direction. as to what you should request. But it's really up to that home buyer. What are the things that you want to move forward with that will make you comfortable in the house, right?
Absolutely.
And typically, I could tell you come with a list of 10. They're not going to fix all 10, but in most scenarios, you can find a win-win, right? Where they may say, all right, there are 10 items. I'm going to resolve 6 of them. Here's the cost associated with 4. Those are on you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's a difference in what you ask for when it comes to a newly renovated house versus an older house that has not been renovated as well. Because we're not looking for the seller to rebuild, the old house, because a lot of the homes in Philadelphia are, over 100 years old. They may have been updated throughout the years, but
it's actually one of the oldest cities in the country.
Yeah. So, you're going to find, just like when a used car, right? We talked about cars, right? You're going to find some things in an older home, a lived-in home. So what we don't want to do is go in nitpicking, right? About the small things. We want to, this is what I tell my buyers. We're going to ask for things that are pretty much deal breakers for you.
There you go.
Deal breakers.
There you go.
Okay? Especially when we're dealing with a older home. If it's something that you really just can't handle on your own, then these are the things that we're going to ask the seller to repair. We're not going to ask them to tighten up the doorknob. I'll come over your house and I'll tighten up the doorknob for you. Seriously, we're not going to ask for those small things. We're going to ask for the big things that are going to truly impact the quality of the home.
There you go. There you go. And one of the other things that you brought up in terms of like new homes is, guess what? One of the questions we get a lot is, hey, I'm purchasing a new construction home. Should I have that inspection done?
Yes.
Absolutely, 100%. There is a such thing called human error, and guess what? It's not going away. So what are some of the things that we see? I was in one a week ago, and guess what? Some of the appliances, the garbage disposal had already seized. There was a major leak going on, and the reason I say it was major is because they're going to have to cut out the ceiling to get to it. There's a major leak going on with the drain line that's just above the kitchen, right? So all of these different issues, you are going to, they're there, whether you move forward to purchase a home or not. And guess what? Many of these items aren't necessarily deal breakers. They are just things that you're going to request to be resolved before you take ownership of the property.
Absolutely.
And then we talk about some of our really, dare I say, smart clients. They're getting a new construction home inspected twice. That's, correct me if I'm wrong, but most new construction properties are going to have a year warranty.
1 year builder's warranty.
So what happens is they're going to get the home inspection done before they take ownership of the property, and then they're going to call us on month 11. Because they want to have that punch list. There you go.
Make sure everything is done.
They're going to have a third party come in and document and make sure that was done within, before they hit month 11 to say, hey, these are the things that were starting to fail or damage before we
come out of that warranty.
Before we come out of that warranty.
That is extremely important because, when you move into a new construction home, you talk about the test drive again, right?
Yeah.
You're living in this home. The water has not been running this home ever consistently. No one has been taking a shower upstairs, running the dishwasher, and doing laundry at the same time. So no one really knows, how this plumbing system is working, or there's issues in the home, and houses settle. All kinds of things happen within the first year of the home. So it is very important to have that second inspection done on the property.
Absolutely. And then a question that we get a lot is, hey, well, is the home inspection a warranty? Actually it isn't, right? So make sure you every time you have a home inspection done, you should have an inspection agreement, and it's going to outline all these different things for you, right? Because typically, like the home inspection isn't to be used as an appraisal, it is not to be used in lieu of a warranty. But what becomes critically important is, most consumers really don't understand what's outlined within the scope of the inspection, and then the things that are not. Most of the things that are not within the scope of the home inspection is laid out as ancillary services, such as termites. I think we're all young enough to see those cartoons. Hey, for y'all listening on the radio, you just got to vision this with me. You guys remember those cartoons where the termites would swing around the house once,
twice,
and reduce that house to actually? I know I'm not the youngest one, guys. Don't be out there laughing at me either. The good news is that, that type of destructive activity doesn't happen that fast. Mm-hmm. But, termites are very, very destructive in nature. So it's very important when you purchase a home that you also get the termite inspection done.
Absolutely.
I think there are some loan programs that may require it.
Yes, FHA definitely requires a termite inspection.
Yeah, and then so what you guys will see is something called a WDI report, which stands for wood destroying insect activity, because termites are just the most common and ferocious insect, but there's also carpenter bees, carpenter ants, wood-boring beetles, all that, all that fun stuff, right? So then when we talk about other ancillary services, I'll tell you guys, there's one service that, we get calls for a lot now, and that's a sewer scope inspection. That's most of your clients.
Most of my clients, especially when they get the sewer scope with you guys for sure.
I get it. Yeah. So what's interesting is, so when we first started, so the sewer scope inspection, so in most homes, you're going to have a underground waste line that's connecting your drain line to the public sewer line underground. So we don't have any visibility to that line unless we open up the line and we insert a small camera into that line and follow it all the way down. So you guys are thinking, why in the world would you do that? So what happens is if that waste line is cracked, felled, if there is root intrusion, generally does. What's the cost for a full replacement? What's the
I mean, it depends on who you have to do it and how far the main sewer line is to the house and all of that stuff. So it varies, but you're looking at between maybe $5,000 and $15,000.
$5,000 and $15,000. I want you guys to call the radio station right now if you're looking to pay an additional $15,000 after you move into the house. Because if that answer is yes, then we got to talk. So
you can give me that money.
I'm thinking Des and I'll figure out something to sell.
To do with it. Yes.
So sure, that's something that could really offset, the value of the house. That's something that could really put the house in financial distress, right? So, we're seeing a lot of our clients, because anytime you have a home that's over 50 years, that's the time where, a cast iron waste line is going to fail. If there is a large tree outside, because remember, those tree roots can be very destructive.
Absolutely.
You want to consider a sewer scope inspection as well. So
even if a person does get the sewer scope inspection and it's clear, I still recommend to my clients that they get the sewer line protection program offered through the city of Philadelphia, because it is a major expense. And I can honestly say I didn't get it on one of my rental properties.
That's how we learn.
Oh, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how we learn.
And of course, my main water line went. The fresh water line bust, and water's going all down the street, and I'm getting calls, and I had to put out a pretty penny to replace that line. But had I had the sewer line protection program, I think it's like $100 and something for the year. It's like really cheap. So $100 and let's say even just $150
from the water department, right?
$5,000. It's like
it just makes sense.
Makes sense.
It makes sense. Another just to touch back on an ancillary service. If you guys aren't familiar with radon, take some time and do some research yourself, but I'm going to get right to it. Radon is a second leading cause of lung cancer, right? So it comes from the soil. It's going to be the most elevated at the lowest area of the home. You can get the home tested for radon for as low as $185, right? So to have it tested for radon isn't expensive, but to have the remediation, that can be really expensive. And guess what? It can, it's a health concern. So those are the three things that our clients are usually getting: radon, sewer scope, and termite.
Absolutely. And all of those inspections are extremely important. We just came out of a season where a lot of buyers were not getting home inspections because, they were competing against so many other people trying to get these homes. And, I'm hearing horror stories, because a lot of people did not get these home inspections. Did you notice a change in your business during that period? A shift in your business at all?
I did. I will tell you, I felt like that was going on more out in the counties, but within the city where we still had, where the most of our volume is at. We noticed that area was pretty much static, pretty much flatline.
Yeah. So, I tell a lot of my clients also, when they get the home inspection, this is like their handbook to the house, right? So you may not ask for everything. You may not ask the seller to repair everything, but that home inspector is telling you what's wrong and what's good about your property. Yeah. So, and you guys will put, what you put? Like
typically is marginal or defective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are things that you want to keep an eye on throughout the years, and maybe next year that'll be whatever it is your project that you're working on to repair in your home. So it's really like your handbook to your house. And I tell people all the time, if it says that your chimney is a little, I don't know,
if you got some deterioration going
or whatever
on,
like that, then make that your project next year.
Absolutely.
Don't just put your home inspection away. I got in my house done. The seller did whatever the repairs they did, and now I'm putting my home inspection away and I'm living in the house. No, pull that thing out again and see what
it's going to save you a lot of money. So you'll see things listed as, so if you list something as defective, then guess what? That's something that's in need of immediate repair. But, more often than not, we're bumping into things that are going to be listed as marginal, which is really a preventive maintenance item. But what happens if you don't do preventive maintenance on your car?
It becomes major. It
becomes major, right? So a lot of times, we're walking through the home and we're pointing out preventive maintenance items and, putting it in a report. But meanwhile, the buyer is thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to put my big screen TV over there. I got my money green. So, y'all heard Biggie's song. It was all a drink. Y'all heard that song, and we there now. But, but the home does require some upkeep. At the end of every inspection, we provide a home maintenance manual, right? That home maintenance manual is going to discuss the different mechanicals in the home and how you keep them up to speed, whether you have a boiler or a forced air heating system. And then it's also going to talk about the things that need to be done as the seasons change to really keep the home in a premium condition. That way, 4 years, 5 years later, Des can come back and sell it for you.
Absolutely. I'll be ready to move up. Yes, moving on up. Yes.
Or they can use it for a rental.
They could. Absolutely.
They can use it for a rental and start building that portfolio.
Absolutely. I'm all for people keeping their real estate. You don't have to sell everything that you own. Yep. But what are some of the things that you just made me lose my train of thought?
I'm good.
I have a question. I can jump in
at that.
I want to ask, what is your favorite aspect of what you do and all the home inspecting that you do? Because you said that you got interested in it when you had your first home inspector come for your property. So what did you see that said, all right, I want to look into this and I want to continue doing this?
That's a really good question. And what happened is I was purchasing homes, and I was actually in an investment group at the time. And I was, when we're young, we're just really excited. We got the energy there. And I'm telling everyone about what I do. And people are like, man, you know what? I'm thinking about buying my investment properties. Why don't you come take a look at it? That type of deal. And I would find myself, we would be there for an hour. And I'm just going over different things with that person. Right. And so for me, it would just so happen like a few weeks later, I met a home inspector. And I'm like, man, I should have got a check from my I forgot to grab a check. And then, one of my favorite quotes from a motivational speaker, he said, what is that thing that you love to do? You would do it for free, but you're so damn good at it that people pay you for it. And even to this day, so I've been at it for over 12 years now, but even to this day, I just enjoy it. I just enjoy it. So for us, one of the really, really cool things about it is that, we're meeting people at a really happy, exciting time in their life. Maybe they're a first time home buyer, so they're eager to bring their mother or their sister along with the property for the home inspection. Maybe the family's growing. you know, and they're buying a bigger house. Maybe it's a someone that's going through a separation. They're just looking to get their groove back at a condo. Whatever the case may be, you know, you're just meeting people at a really, really excited time in their life. And the one thing that I really liked about this this industry, when you're done, people say thank you.
Yes. Yes, they appreciate you for sure.
They say thank you. You know, the warm mothers and grandmothers, they give you a hug. And I can be honest, dads are really, really skeptical because they don't know you.
I was going to ask about that.
Dads are really skeptical, but there are different questions that you can ask them to let them know. You know, you and them, you're on the same team.
Absolutely.
You're there to protect their interests. And, you know, let's be honest, you know, one of the things that we hate to talk about is sometimes we're, you know, it just happens. We're on an inspection and it may not be the house for them. You know, but, you know, the challenge with us as the home inspector is we don't really know what type of resources the family has or the guy has, or, you know, to really make that decision. So our job is to really arm them with as much information as possible so that they can make an educated decision.
Absolutely.
Hey, is this something that I want to move forward with? And then a lot of times I'll get the question, you know, once the inspection is done and they're like, hey, would you buy the house? You know, I get that question usually in some level of secrecy, you know, and I always, and it's funny, I always try to change the temperature. I'll give them an emphatic no. I wouldn't buy the house. And I say, you know what? My mom doesn't live around the corner from here. I can't run around the corner and raid her refrigerator, you know, and then I'll explain to them, listen, you're buying this house because it's something specific to you that meets your needs. And in most cases, they like the house before the home inspection, but now they have some concerns. So my next question for them would be, hey, if the heating system is repaired, the structural issues are resolved, would you then like the house again? You know, and typically it's a yeah, I would. So then the thought is, okay, well, let's figure out, we're going to put this in the seller's hands. They're going to create a repair addendum, and let's you know, let's see where they want to negotiate at. But if it's me, it's kind of important to have some heat in the house before I purchase.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In most cases, you know, you can come to an agreement.
In most cases.
With the seller.
In most cases.
So you mentioned the heating system, and, you know, the heating system is something that comes up quite frequently, you know.
Absolutely.
And as a matter of fact, I was just showing houses, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever day it was, to a particular client. And we noticed the heating system just looked old.
Yeah.
Right? But just because it's old does not mean that it's not working.
So we get that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go. You're the expert.
We get that all the time. Hey, well, the heating system is 30 years old. Can we just ask that they replace it? Well, unfortunately, we can't. You know, if the heating system is functioning fine at the time of the inspection, and guess what? It's typically going to get an acceptable. We can't look at the age. The age alone isn't going to, you know, say, hey, they should replace it.
We don't just throw things away because they're old.
No, because I'm getting up there.
So don't just go throwing me away.
Chris is over here laughing. He's about to get up and start dancing. Yeah, he's a young fuck up in here.
Yes.
I think I'm safe.
Yeah. But what I'll tell you guys, you know, that's an opportunity when you guys will use that home warranty.
There you go. That's what I was about to
You
get. You all in my brain. Get out of my head.
We've been at this for a minute.
Long
We've
time,
been at this
yes.
for a minute. So, you know, because guess what? You know, that home warranty, if the system is to fail, again, we're not looking to. The goal is we want happy homeowners, right? We want people that can say, hey, I met a awesome realtor, and from her, I was introduced to other really, really good real estate professionals, you know, from title to insurance to home inspection to lender. And you know, it takes a team
Absolutely.
to have that great experience for home ownership, right? It takes a team to do that.
Absolutely.
So.
You know, I always stress that to my clients. Whenever they have a question about something that I am not the expert in, I am not the expert when it comes to mortgages, speak to your lender. I am not the expert when it comes to home inspections, speak to the home inspector.
Yeah.
I'm not an electrician. I'm not a roofer. I can give you, I have experience and I can give you, some basic guidance. But if you have specific questions, then you need to speak to, your team members. When you buy a house, you formulate that team. Whether you have your, certain people that you want to bring onto your team, or your real estate agent, has a team of people. But we definitely are here to support you throughout this process. We want you to win, regardless. We want you to win. So we're going to advocate for you. We're going to, point out things that we feel as though could be improved upon, basically, in any aspects of the purchase process. So we're here for you.
Hey, that's another good point. Des, you're taking care of me. I haven't looked at my notes yet, but you're kind of giving me a lot of really good segues.
Oh, okay, good.
A lot of good segues. So, one of the things that I want people to, kind of appreciate is that, so the home inspector, he is not a expert, if you will, at every trade, right? So what that means is kind of look at him as your primary care doctor, right? So if you go to see your primary care doctor and he recognizes, some type of irregular heartbeat, he is not going to write up, a prescription right away. He's not. Hopefully, he doesn't pull the scalpel out and operate.
Please,
But he's going to recommend that you see a cardiologist. He is going to recommend that you see a specialist. So there are times, we talk about the heating system a lot, where, if we recognize, heavy orange flames within the burners, we may recommend an HVAC specialist. Same thing with if we notice some type of structural issue, we also may recommend a structural engineer. So really look at that home inspector as your primary care doctor. He is given an all clear on the things that are functioning fine, but he may recommend a specialist as needed.
Absolutely. You are listening to Real Talk with the Real Estate Diva. This is Desiree, Real Estate Diva, and I am here with Corwin Jackson of Core Inspection Group, and he is giving us some wonderful information about home inspections and what to look out for.
Hey, what she means is we just here having fun and talking, guys. Turn that. We just here having fun. Because, it's great to catch up with other professionals, particularly at the start of the year. Because we know in our business, it's really a seasonality aspect. Right. And sometimes it gets really hard to sit down in April and May and June. And Daz, I know you are super busy that time of the year as well.
Yes, very much so. So I'm looking forward to it.
I know. Well, don't worry. So that's a quick reminder. Hey, we are not going to spend our tax money on jewelry, cars.
No.
Not this year. We went on that vacation last year. Because, we was tired from the pandemic. We all had cabin fever. So last year, we all took some amazing vacations. So it's time to buy some houses.
Yes, time to buy some houses. Time to set that foundation for your family, create that stability for your family, and start generating some generational wealth.
Generational wealth. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. Yep. So, Corwin, what are some of the craziest things you've seen at a home inspection?
You know what? A lot of times there are investment properties that someone may be looking to offload, but they are, and their property owners are landlords that don't visit the properties often, and they think it's vacant. And we go there and they're like raising pit bulls. Or we go there and it's like just crazy. There's a tattoo shop going on in the basement.
Wow.
So we've seen, we've seen a lot of just really like, hey, I don't think an inspection is going to happen today.
Wow.
I don't think an inspection is going to happen, particularly where, we have, because this is the time of the year that we work a lot with investors. And a lot of times investors may be, they may be offloading packages. They have 3 different properties in a city that they're looking to offload, 4 different properties in a city that they're looking to offload, that type of deal. So we may be like the first, we'll call it real estate professional with boots on the ground in some time, particularly if there's an out-of-state landlord. And sometimes what they think is going on at the property is something completely different.
Different. Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I've walked into several houses and people weren't supposed to be there, and I walked into some crazy situations.
Absolutely,
I walked into a drug deal one time. It was just like, whoa, like seriously, like
Well, I can
it was
tell you
scary.
one time I was there with an, just to paint the picture, our client that day was older. It was she was buying her first home, but she was older, we'll say. The realtor, she was probably in her 30s, just to paint the picture. And as we go into the house, the client says, we were here 2 days ago. It's just something just smells different. I don't know what that smell is. And as we're walking through the first floor, second floor, she's just kind of staying on it.
Yeah.
Where now we're figuring out, hey, do we want to do a mold, an indoor air quality test? Here it is. Somebody was camping out in the basement. And she was picking up on his, we'll call it fragrance.
Wow.
But the reason age is important, so mind you, I'm a early 40s guy. The agent is younger than me. The client is much older. She's elderly. But she was all over. You are going to get out of my house right now. I didn't have to say nothing.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? You know you don't belong here. You're going to get out of my house. The guy is like running, trying to grab one of his bags. She's like, you ain't got time for that. I'm trying to let you know and give you a head start.
I know that's right, Mama.
Yeah,
Yes.
you need to go.
That's that old school.
You need to go.
Pull out that straight.
Like right now, because our parents, they just had to speak with a certain tone.
Absolutely, and we got it together.
They just had to speak with a certain tone, and we got it together. We are trying.
We'll give you that look, like
they'll give you that.
y'all can't see it, but y'all know that look.
So it's funny. So we are trying to raise our kids differently now. The jury is still out on which is more appropriate or effective. But I'll tell you guys, my wife tried to give my 5-year-old that look in the supermarket. He just gave it back to her. He thought it was a game.
See, this generation, these little kids,
I don't know. And she's the leader of, we're going to do things differently. So I'm like, you got that.
Yeah, right?
He ain't messing with that. He ain't messing with that like that. You can forget about it. So the beauty is, just working within real estate. And I've had the opportunity to connect with you in different settings. Guys, as much fun and enjoyment as we're having on the radio, business can be tough sometimes, but, we do the same just in the interaction with clients.
Absolutely.
Right. Just on the, from the initial call to, because there is something to be said about working with small business owners, right? You're connecting with people who have been in your very chair before.
Absolutely.
Right? You're not speaking with somebody. You're not calling a call center. It's much cheaper for me to set up a call center somewhere in Ohio, somewhere in, I don't know, somewhere in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? But, we bring everything in-house. Our office is located in Bensalem. You guys can come and visit anytime you want. We bring everything in-house because we want to make sure you guys are getting an exceptional experience, right? From scheduling a home inspection, typically the end product is a report. But we like to tell our clients is, guess what? The service doesn't stop there. Once you're going through the report, if there's anything in there that does not make sense to you, get us on the phone. We can have another discussion about it.
And I can definitely attest to that. There's several situations where, my client has had questions, or even I have had questions. Yeah. And, I'll give a call into the office.
Yep.
And, you guys are right on it. You call back and you explain whatever the situation is.
Absolutely. Yep. Another one of the services that, and it's not just us guys, and you know what, there are a lot of really good home inspection companies out there. Just do your homework and figure out, who you want to work with. But one of the other services that we provide that a lot of people may not be aware of is the re-inspection. So this is a scenario where let's just use the electric panel for example. This is a scenario where, if we take the panel cover off and we find that there's different issues with it, the client is thinking, well, how do I know if it's fixed properly? How do I know if it was resolved? You can always give us a call. We'll come back out for a re-inspection, also known as a repair verification.
Absolutely.
And that's going to verify that all the items that they agreed to resolve, that's going to verify that they were done professionally.
And that's extremely important to do, because I cannot tell you how many times if a client has opted not to do that, after closing, they find that certain things are not done. Or if they did opt to do it, you guys will send a report and say, okay, no, this wasn't done. Even though the seller is, saying everything is done. You send us the report and it is not done. The flashing has not been repaired, or the double tap wiring has not been repaired.
Correct.
You know, so
double tap.
I know a little bit.
Trying to sneak that one in here.
Yes. Well, listen, I read your reports, and I will honestly say, one of the things I'm gonna be honest, I don't attend every home inspection.
I get it.
For several reasons, but I always tell my clients, when I don't attend, this is your time with the home inspector.
Yes.
When you mentioned the buyer, he may be walking around trying to figure out where he's going to put the TV and the sofa and all of these things, that is not the time for that.
Yeah.
Follow. And hopefully you're okay with this, because I tell my clients,
we encourage it.
Okay, follow the home
encourage
inspector around, because this is when you're going to learn about the property that you're buying, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything. And the good thing about Core Inspection Group is they really do educate you about even how to maintain the property while they're doing the home inspection. So, I said that to say, when I first got started in real estate, I attended every single inspection. And I followed that inspector around like constantly. I was on his heels because I wanted to learn. I wanted to know. Yeah. So I learned so much. So as, agents, real estate agents, I get it. You're in the business now, and, you may attend the home inspection and you may sit at the table and just, do your notes if you're just getting started in this business, sorry, Corwin, follow their home inspector around.
We enjoy it.
Yes.
And every now and then, and it's not that I just try to, I am a very time efficiency. I'm a guy that likes to be productive. But a lot of times we'll get a call from a new agent, and the thought is, hey, can you, can we come out to, can we set up a vacant property for you to come out and show me the things that you inspect? I'm like, we could, but when you schedule an inspection, let's see this thing live.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's see this thing in action, so you can really see how it plays out. Right. So
Absolutely.
we'll get that call every now and then. Of course, if there's a team of 10 new agents, then sure, it makes sense. We'll set up and we'll call it a test run at a house to kind of go through and do a mock inspection.
Okay, I didn't know you did that.
We'll do it, yeah. Well, now if it's just one, I'm a time management kind of guy.
I know, that's right. But that's something good to know, because that's something that, I may even talk to our office manager about, because there's a lot of new agents. And,
Absolutely.
Maybe,
Absolutely.
you already know. You're always at my office. This man in my office more than I'm at my office. I walk in, I see him or Rob there. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, big thank you to Rob Battle. When I talk about, so we have an amazing team. It really takes a team to keep this thing up in the air. But when I think about just the different aspects of what creates a good home inspection company, the different inspectors, the client care coordinators, but Rob's piece as a relationship manager has been the hardest to fill. Hey, by the way, Rob Battle is being inducted to the College Basketball Hall of Fame.
Okay, Rob.
Clap that up.
Congratulations, Rob.
Yeah, Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame. So I think the date is, Rob, don't kill me if I mess the date up, but I believe it's January 21st.
Okay.
He'll be inducted at Drexel on the court. Me and the family are going out there. So if anyone's looking for something fun to do and just to support a local, well-known athlete, but just his ability to go out, connect with people, it's been awesome.
Yes.
It's been awesome. And you know that the toughest thing for, professionals to do is to kind of clone yourself. To say, hey, I can spend some less time focusing over here, and there are other areas where I can kind of get up and running at.
Yeah, it's really difficult to, like you said, clone yourself and trust someone to do an effective job.
Absolutely.
With, the job that you hire.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a micromanagement kind of guy. I know that it's going to come out if someone's not, doing what they need to do from the client care. We got an awesome team altogether.
Yeah, I can say, I mean, their customer service is, is on point. Like your customer service is on point. You guys get back to people, quickly. So I highly recommend them. You mentioned earlier that, there's other, home inspection companies out there. So, that's a good plug for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's enough business to go around.
Absolutely.
It's enough business to go around. I can tell you, the home inspection industry, we're still young.
Mm-hmm.
We're still really young. Pre 1980s, if you were going to purchase a house, you weren't going to call a home inspector. You were going to get your uncle, your dad, or someone of that nature to come and just kind of do a walkthrough. One of the challenges with that is that that person, they don't have a regiment down. We're in and out of typically 40 to 50 homes a week. So we have a process that's going to confirm, was the dryer vent looked at? Was the roofing system walked? All those types of fun things. One of the things that I also want to educate people on is, one of the challenges with the home inspection industry, particularly in Philadelphia, is that the ease of entry is really, really low. Right. So if someone wanted to become a home inspector, they really could do so within less than 60 days. Right. You can be out bouncing around. But would you want someone with less than 2 months experience making a decision on your biggest investment?
Not at all.
Probably not. Right. So typically when people call in to schedule an inspection, the first question they ask is, how much is it? Right. What our really, really savvy clients are calling to ask, we could tell when they're calling different companies and say, how long have you guys been around? Where are you getting your state certificates
I was going to mention that. So what are the certifications that a home inspector should have?
So we are a ASHI certified a home inspection firm, ASHI. ASHI is one of the oldest home inspection education firms that's been around. It is costly to be with ASHI. You're required to complete a certain amount of education credits. So typically, if someone is just looking to start out, they're not going to align with ASHI because of the cost and the education required. Now, within the Pennsylvania state, again, the state we don't require a license. Jersey is different for anyone that's looking from Jersey. Jersey does require a state license. I love Jersey because they force the bar to be raised much higher. So in Pennsylvania, simply what's required is that you complete 100 fee-paid inspections. That just means that you align with a senior inspector, that we'll call it. They're going to sign off on those 100 inspections, and then you have to basically become a member of a not-for-profit building association.
Okay.
So and then with that, there is no oversight. It's not really being reinforced the way it should. So, with that, that's why I'm sure your clients have brought to you some of a lower cost service provider.
Oh, yeah.
And, a lot of times if I'm in the office and a call comes in, well, hey, I got somebody that can do it for, $195. I'll say to them, well, guess what? That is the best inspection that you can get. $495.
Absolutely. And the other thing that people need to be aware of is that, we talked about that 10-day contingency period. What a lot of people don't know is that in order for you to truly exercise your rights within that 10-day period, let's just say you wanted to terminate the contract because you found certain things in the property, you have to have had the property inspected by one of these certified inspectors. It cannot be Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
It cannot be,
It can't be a Bitcoin expert.
It cannot. It cannot, because that seller may say, well, show me this report.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that report, then you might have a fight on your hands trying to get yourself out of that contract. So it is extremely important to, if you're going to have the home inspected, make sure you are truly hiring a professional, someone who has the certification, someone that has the experience, because, a savvy real estate agent may not let you out of that contract, if they know that rule, and it's there, I promise you.
Yeah, absolutely. How we doing on time, Chris? We starting at
about 7 minutes left.
7 minutes.
Okay, so what is it? What is it that you think we can cover? What's important? What's something juicy? What
something
do we need
juicy.
to knock down?
Something. I mean, I think that you did an awesome job. Just sharing all of the wonderful information that you did thus far. We talked about the crazy things that's happened. Give us another crazy story. Let's end this one a big laugh. You had something you walked into.
I can't
or something you saw in the house.
All of me.
You post some things on social media sometimes. You be like, I can't believe I saw this in the house.
I'll tell you something that drives me absolutely mad is when that, because a lot of times, they'll have a seller's disclosure, but they'll say, hey, the roofing system was replaced. And we're talking about a larger building with a gable roof, so you can see the front side of the asphalt shingles. But then when we climbed the roof, the other side wasn't touched. It's been there for like 20, 30 years. So sometimes we'll see some things that can be really just, over the top, misleading stuff that's going to put the clients in a bad spot.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you get the home inspection. I remember one property I went into. I couldn't believe it. I never saw it before. But apparently they still has fuses in the house. But they had a fork. Yeah. What was the fork doing? I saw the fork was.
I guess it was complete. You didn't touch it, did you?
Heck no, I didn't touch it. But the fork was in the fuse panel, and it was like as a connector or something. I said, "What in the world is this?"
You guys see something like that? Don't touch the fork. You will get a shocking experience.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, don't touch it. But you'll be surprised. Sometimes we're in older homes, and it may be a brand new heating system. Or they may have had the home treated for termite. So sometimes we'll go in there and we'll be surprised.
Yeah, well, another reason why it's important, because you talked about, new construction homes, right? And why it's important to inspect a new construction home or even a fully rehabbed home.
Yeah.
I recently had a situation where the seller's contractor did not connect the diverter on the shower.
Wow.
So there was no way to turn on the shower.
Right. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, when she called the contractor, guess what the contractor said?
What's that?
I didn't know you wanted a diverter. Like, what? Like, excuse me?
And he was serious.
He was dead serious. Like, what?
Yeah.
So these are the things that your inspector
that we're there to look at.
He's going to turn on the shower. He's going to run all the water in the house and open all the windows and make sure everything is working properly.
Making sure it's working properly, because you got to keep in mind. So these GCs are general contractors. Sometimes they can have 3 or 4 projects going on at the same time. Most general contractors are not the person turning the wrench, right? So they're going to have various subcontractors, right? And those contractors are calling, texting, hey, the cabinet's up, hey, the floor is down, hey, the electric's done. But where does the quality control happen at?
Absolutely.
Right? Who's going back to see how was the electric panel? If the electric panel was installed, who's going back to see those things? So in that sense, sometimes the that home inspection company becomes just that. There are some regions, I haven't been successful with it here in Pennsylvania, but there are some regions where builders are now partnering with home inspectors. Because there are so many subs, they can't keep up with them. So before that client comes, or before the realtor comes and finds all types of issues, and now they don't want to buy the house, they're partnering with different home inspection firms to come out and kind of complete a touch list.
Absolutely.
That's
so we'll actually end on that note, because one of the things that I would still recommend to anyone who's looking to sell their home, is a pre-listing home inspection.
Absolutely.
That way you can get in front of, some of the issues that may be wrong with your home.
Yeah, because you don't want a buyer to come in and bring his home inspector. Again, this is for a pre-listing home inspection if you're selling a house. If a buyer comes in, brings his home inspector, and there's a leak with this roof, he is 100% going to request a roof replacement, right? Whereas maybe it's a flashing issue. Maybe there was some mechanical damage there, something that the home inspector on your side of the table can identify. But the thought is you want to stay in the driver's seat for how these repairs are being resolved. So.
Absolutely. And I always say the less a buyer see or a home inspector see that's hired by the buyer, the less they'll be looking for and asking for. And, when a buyer gets a list of like 50 things on a home inspection report, it scares them, right? So we want to try to, minimize that list as much as possible.
Absolutely. But so guys, I know we're running out of time. I need a favor. call in and ask that I come back a third time.
Oh my God. What is he going to talk about a third time? So what's going to be a topic next
We're going to
time?
talk about employment opportunities.
Oh, okay.
For inspection group.
Hiring,
All right.
okay.
We're going to talk about healthy home services, right? Things that keep your home healthy. And there is a awesome new real estate channel that's coming out. That's coming out.
Plug it.
But I'm not going to plug it.
Not yet.
Not right now. If y'all want to hear about this channel, y'all got to call and go be back for a third time.
Not yet. All right. Not yet. Yes. Well, you'll definitely be back. Thank you so much for coming in. But listen, share your information.
Oh,
so
sure.
That
So if you want to schedule a home inspection, the easiest way to do so is 215-987-7547. You can email info@coreinspectiongroup.com. Instagram is @Core Inspection Group. So we're looking forward to working with you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Corwin. This is another episode of Real Talk with the Real Estate Diva. This is Desiree Real Estate Diva here. I can be reached at phillyrealestatediva.com. That is my website, or on social media, Philly Real Estate Diva, or you can call my office, and that number is 267-238-2877. Do not text that number. Call, leave a message, and I will get back to you. Blessings to all of you, and we'll touch bases again next week.
Awesome, guys. Take care.
All right, guys.